Well, hello there. My name is H.W. and thanks for watching Tone Junkie TV. Have you heard of Kingsley pedals? If you haven't, you definitely should. Now, probably a lot of people first heard about Kingsley pedals when the Jouster came out. That was kind of a big pedal some years ago, probably over a decade ago, all over the message boards and whatnot. And then most recently, they sort of regained some popularity, or at least some notoriety, some awareness. They recently featured a bunch of them on That Pedal Show, and Mick has put a whole bunch of Simon, Jarrett, and Kingsley stuff on his board, kind of doing a Dumble approach type thing. And that's really cool. I wanted to show you my favorite Kingsley overdrive, and one that I don't see a lot of videos about, one that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and one that has not been on That Pedal Show, and that is the Kingsley Jouster. Now, the Kingsley Jouster is their double drive. If you played any of the Kingsley pedals, I'll tell you this one is by far their most rock and roll pedal. This is like Breathe Fire, high to medium gain overdrive, so medium to high gain overdrive. It's really cool. It's got two sides. Now, it doesn't have two sides like the King of Tone, like it's not two independent pedals. It's got overdrive 1 and overdrive 2, so maybe we'll call it two kind of modes, but you get independent controls over those. So we have an on-off, and we have OD1 and OD2, and identical controls. We get tone, volume, and gain, and that's about all you need. And we also get this cool little switch on the top. I'll call it a voice switch. And you get one for each pedal. Now, let's hear how this sounds. I'm playing a Kemper into a Michael Britt third power profile. This is a Sir heavy antique HSH Strat, SSVs, and an ML in the middle there. Let's hear how this sounds on kind of a Strat single coil in the neck. This is with the pedal disengaged. Okay, so that's a typical Fender clean sound, and you know, I had a couple questions about the Kemper. Hey, you know, can you use a real amp, or what's going on with the Kemper? How's the pedals going to sound? I put in this Kemper sound here because I think everybody can get this sound, whether you've got a Hot Rod Deluxe or a Deluxe Reverb, or you're playing something that's not a Fender at all. There's usually an American clean tone that you can try to dial in. Now, if you're playing a Vox or something, dial that in clean. It's going to be a little different. It's going to have a different flavor. But same thing with this guitar. If you've got like PAF humbuckers, they're not that much different than the SSVs in terms of their voice and stuff. It's not night and day. The ML pickup is fairly bright for a single coil, kind of squawky. I'd say something in the 50s range of pickup might get you kind of something like that ML. So I think this is all attainable gear. So if you go out and buy a Jouster, you should be able to hear what it sounds like. So clean again. Okay, let's try to engage the Jouster. I've got the gain somewhere at about 1030, maybe 11. And then I've got the volume to sort of match and be nice in the room. And I've got the tone past 12. I find all tube overdrives that use tubes tend to be heavy in the bass. And I think that's understandable. But there are, like I said, there are two real 12AX7s inside this pedal. And it sounds like it. So I'm using this on the number 3 voice switch, and we'll run through that. Okay, warm. It's very warm. Like I said, a lot of bass in these things, and I tend to find that you kind of have to, maybe it's done that way so that you can roll off your guitar volume, so you can kind of get this type of thing. Full on. That was full on. Now I'm just going to take that back on the guitar's volume. that warms up, that cleans up, excuse me, beautifully. It really does. That's a neck single coil. Beautiful. Here's full on. I've got it at about 7 or 8 right now, but here's full on. Let's go for that wonderful number 2 Strat chime. You can hear the touch sensitivity there. Listen to this. That's just picking dynamics. That's not even touching the volume knob there. But if you do touch the volume knob, bring it down like this. I've always found that actually turning the volume knob down, because you're cutting the output of the guitar, you actually lose the picking dynamics that you get when it's on 10. And that's why me, H.W., I've always preferred just trying to actually play lighter rather than really rolling the guitar down too much. I really prefer to change to a single coil pickup if I want to clean something up, and then just play lighter. So this is a really beautiful tone to me. So that's like full on, you know, that number 2 squawky Strat position. And then, you know, if I want to clean it up a little bit, I just play a little lighter. Here is full bridge humbucker, that setting you can see. Now, let's play around with that voice knob. You can imagine what gain and stuff does, and I'll play with that, but that's voice 3. Let's go back to voice 1. Now what I hear is voice 1 is sort of the cleanest, the least amount of mid-range, and sort of the most, I don't want to say transparent, because this really isn't a transparent drive, but it's transparent-ish. So let's check that out. Here's the number 1 with the pedal engaged. That's with the humbucker. Let's put it on something a little warmer, like a number 4 position, middle and neck together. Fell out of tune a little bit. Hang on. Okay, back. You wiggle that bar a little too much and it starts to wander. So you get a much clearer sort of presentation of the sound. Let's hear the pedal disengaged, just so you can really hear what number 1 sounds like, that first voice position. You can hear the contents in the high end right there, and listen, they're kind of still there. So we have a gain pedal not cutting any highs at a low-ish setting. That's what you get on kind of number 1, the most transparent, sort of what you give it is what you're going to get back kind of tone. Simon Jarrett, by the way, is a monster player. Check out his demos on their website. You can really get the dynamic range of all of these pedals in the Kingsley line. They are incredibly dynamic, as dynamic as a tube amp, because they're using tubes. So we're not trying to simulate the touch sensitivity that you would get, with a tube amp. It's all there. So that's voice number one. Let's try voice two here. What I hear is a little more mid-range, and probably the same amount of highs. That definitely mid-range push there really fits well with the Strat and this type of sound that we're getting, the Fender-y kind of American clean tone. More mids makes it sound, focused and kind of aggressive. You get that MIDI is a different thing. That mid-rangey kind of breakup. Beautiful sound. That's a split, one and two position. Sorry, that's the split neck and middle position. Let's try a full humbucker with those same settings. You could use that as all of your tones that you might need in a set or something. I mean, how do you get what do you need more than that? With a guitar like this is my favorite way to do it. You get sort of a cleanish. To be able to take that sound and then throw it on the bridge. We have not changed the pedal at all. We haven't clicked any buttons. All we've done is played harder and lighter with a pedal that is truly, truly as dynamic as an amplifier. Really incredible stuff. All right, that is the voice 2 setting. Let's try voice 3. Now what I hear is it's even more mid-range, and I'm hearing a cut in the high end. Listen to this. Definitely a cut in the bass. I mean, that's a killer sound, killer sound. That's a bridge humbucker, by the way. We can still get a nice pushed mid-rangey aggressive voice because we're not dealing with a ton of gain, but just the voice is changing to be a little more mid-rangey and aggressive. We can still get that with a middle and a bridge single coil like this. That's a beautiful sound. Just for the hell of it, what's a single coil sound like in the bridge? You know, let me just say this. There's a trend in pedals right now. Low gain is really popular, okay? And a lot of times those low gain pedals sound really great, but there's a lot of compression in them to get that low edge of breakup sound and feel. I love those pedals. The King of Tone is probably the king of those pedals. The Black Box 2 is a killer pedal that does that. The Prince of Tone does that. The Morning Glory does that. There's a level of compression in those pedals that is not natural to a guitar amplifier. They're fun to play. They sound great. But it has to do that to get that sound, and kind of just trying to, I think, make you feel like, you know, it's really pushing the pedal, because there's not a ton of gain in those boxes, so you're really pushing what's in there, and then you get this sort of squashy feel. It's very fun to play. It's fun to play that. But I always come back to dynamics. And that's because I played, you know, Marshalls for so long, a Silver Jubilee, mid-'80s Silver Jubilee for so long, that had that. That's because I played a Buddha and a couple AC30 type amps with power scaling, where you turn it up pretty loud, the power scaling brings it back, but it has all that dynamic touch sensitivity because you're getting the grind out of the amplifier. If that's you, you seriously need to check out Kingsley pedals. They don't just have the Jouster; they have a bunch of other stuff. And I've got a minstrel over here I'm going to do a video on too. Anyway, that's enough. Let's get back to the pedal. I just wanted to say that I think that while the trend may be low gain overdrives that have kind of a lot of compression, a pedal like this that really cleans up this way is classic, and it's always going to be there for people who really like playing with their dynamics. And that's me, and maybe that's you. And that's not saying anybody's better than any other way. I hear killer guitar players, you know, in certain genres, just, you know, killing it with some of that tone, and they do kill it. I like this. I like this a little more. You may be wondering how much more gain is on tap, and let's show you right now. Let's just run through this. So I'm just going to use a number 2 position strat kind of thing, single, single, and single, single, and the bridge humbucker. I'll go back and forth. Let's just roll the gain up a little bit. I mean, yeah. It's like a fire-breathing dragon is like alive in this little black box that this man makes in Canada. I think he actually used some magic to shrink down a dragon and put it inside the box and make it breathe fire. Because it sounds to me in the room, I hope it comes through, it'll come through on the recording. In the room, it sounds like just the most balls-to-the-wall Marshall you ever heard. And it's killer. It's killer. We're still on side 1, by the way. I mean, can you believe all these tones coming out of just side 1? Hang on, let's get up here. Now, you start to hear a little noise. You start to hear a little noise there. It gets a little noisy when you get to the very high gain setting. seeing that? That amount of touch sensitivity should not be possible in a pedal. It just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. I don't know what to say. There's a bug flying around here. I don't know what to say. It shouldn't. I've never experienced a pedal that does that. I really have not. Not the most touch. I mean, I love the OCD because it's so touch sensitive. It doesn't get anywhere close to this. Not even. Not a chance. Not a chance. Now, who's going to use that much gain and really try to clean it up? But as you saw, earlier, you can see how easy it is to sort of clean up this pedal. So that's side 1, and I prefer it just a little below 12, kind of right there, because I think that gives you just a ton of great tones. That's sort of where we started, is really my preference, and maybe either mode 2 or mode 3 like this. I think it's just a tremendous sounding pedal. Let's jump over to side 2. We haven't even gone to side 2 yet.